Well, let's take off the old scarf. Let's put my unbiased football commentator hat on here. Let's talk about the game for what it was. And I mean, what a game! It doesn't get any closer than that. We're at this point in the season where it's top teams going against top teams, and it's going to be difficult. And that was a fantastic game and a perfect reflection of this title race. Arsenal can do just enough. They had the better team. They probably created the better chances. They had more expected goals. They had more shots. They had 25 shots. I mean, you can see it on the screen at the minute. Hopefully I can highlight it. I guess not. But you can see their shots today. They had 25 shots. And if I flip back over to the SofaScore tab, I mean, he had 0.38 expected goals. Let's go to this. Yeah, this is the chart I want. And this is kind of the stat that makes all the difference, really. 2.93 expected goals versus 0.33 expected goals. And although it's a fantastic game, although it's a close game, and as much as it pains me to say as a Man United fan, the best team did win. And Arsenal, as you can see in the league table now, 5 points clear with a game in hand. They'll probably go back to 8. They've got Everton as their next game. This top 4 race is going to heat up a bit. I think Tottenham at this point, although this isn't a video about them, Tottenham are struggling. I think this top 4 will stay the same. It's a matter of what the order they finish in. United now 6 points behind City, and they're going to have to struggle. They don't play City again. I believe they play Newcastle. They don't play Arsenal again, obviously. So it's going to be tight at the top, but I think this is Arsenal's league to lose, and they showed that today with a fantastic bit of play. Let's talk about each player. Let's talk about United first. De Gea, wonderful when he had a chance, but I mean, often really didn't have a chance at all. And the back line as a whole from United was not bad at all. Wan-Bissaka played really well. That challenge against Nketiah was wonderful. I mean, he's proven his worth. We came in and Dalot was going to be the right back, and Dalot gets hurt. And without Wan-Bissaka, I think United are in all sorts of bother. But they've done a really good job. Wan-Bissaka's been good. The biggest thing and the biggest question mark, and you see he's got a 6.8 here from SofaScore. And I think that is, it is because of his lack of presence at the back post. It happened against City last weekend, and it happened again today. You can't concede the way he's conceded at the back post. He's got no awareness of what's going on around him, and that hurt United today. Varane was good. Lisandro Martinez was excellent, and then scored the goal too. What a header that was. It takes a lot to get that type of leverage, to get really under the ball the way he did and send it into the goal. Shaw wasn't bad. Didn't see too much from him. And we move on to the midfield, and I think this is where, at the start of the game, you could highlight this. This was my biggest concern as a United fan. This is my biggest concern as an analyst. Looking at this and going, I don't see how United win the midfield battle here. Ødegaard, although playing arguably one of his worst games in a while, actually did a good job. He did a good job, but he didn't have to work that hard. And Bruno was okay. Eriksen was okay, but Eriksen was forced to play away from the role he likes to play. So I need to scroll up a bit so you guys can see the team sheet a bit better. But he was okay. But the problem with not having Casemiro, and we knew this was going to be the issue coming into the game, is Eriksen had to go play as a deep-lying 6. McTominay, not good enough for large stretches of this game. You could say the whole game, really. You feel for him, he's not that type of player. He can't take the ball off the back line the way that Casemiro can. And that's the reason they brought in Casemiro, is to take the ball off the back four, progress it, and give it to Eriksen and Bruno and let them go create the chances. The problem is, McTominay didn't take the ball off the back four and then didn't create any chances and wasn't helpful. So you basically ended up losing a midfield player in some aspects. Rashford was again fantastic for large stretches of this game, but wasn't really afforded much of an opportunity. He didn't get the ball a lot. When he did, you saw him absolutely violate Thomas Partey, who is a very, very good midfielder in his own right. Just took it round him and scored a wonder goal, really. A fantastic strike from him, but didn't have a lot else to do, really, for large parts of this game. As we move out, Weghorst, he's a good player, and I actually heard Mark Goldbridge talk about this, although there's mixed feelings about him in the community, but Mark Goldbridge brought up a bit of a good point when I was listening to him pre-game, actually, and it was something I was watching for during the game. It was, he's not the right player for this type of game. I think United would have been far better off having Garnacho out on the left, Rashford through the middle, and Antony on the right, and having those three work in combination and allow you to hit on the counter-attack. Problem was, Weghorst is a great player for a hold-up style of play for a 60-70% possession game, and that wasn't that. Let's have a look at the actual percentages of possession. It was 58-42 in favour of Arsenal, and when you don't have the ball as much as you're not going to have the ball in this type of game, you're going to struggle. You're gonna struggle to have a hold-up striker who basically always seemed to wanted to play backwards, play it back to Bruno, play it back to Eriksen, and let them do all the work. You need a more direct option, and I think Rashford would have been the better choice. And the biggest question mark about this United team is Antony. He was dreadful for large stretches of the game. The first half, I thought, wow, this is finally the Antony we were expecting to see. He was putting together a few successful dribbles. He was starting to come alive a bit, and let's actually pull up his individual stats. He was starting to come alive a little bit more, and you can see him playing off this majority of the right side and playing down this wing. He was doing a good job. He was taking it past Alexander Zinchenko. The problem was he ran out of ideas, and Zinchenko actually started playing it. I picked up on it during the game. Zinchenko was showing him to his right and saying, take it, go down this side because I know you can't hurt me on this right side. And Antony just kept cutting in on that left, kept trying overzealous and over-adventurous skill moves. And it really didn't work for them. At 42 touches, 74% accuracy, which is not good enough from a who's supposed to be a world-class winger. Really couldn't put together like good passes in key areas. See, did he actually have any successful dribbles? Yeah, he had 5 attempted dribbles, 3 successful. I mean, it was okay. It could have been a lot worse, but he needs to be far more direct than he has been, and I think that was the biggest issue. Moving on to Arsenal, I won't talk about Ramsdale too much. I mean, he didn't have a lot to do. The corner was pretty dreadful. He really should do a lot better than he did. He really should just go 2 hands, punch it away, get rid of it, and not have to worry about it. The problem was he did, and ended up causing the second goal for Man United. Not a lot you could do about the Rashford goal. I mean, you could argue, take a step this way, and you say the same about De Gea earlier. Take a step this way, take a step this way. The reality is you can't do that. And in the Premier League, when players can hit it as well as they can catch you from just about anywhere. So you can't really cheat. Ben White was poor. I mean, subbed off at half-time, got a yellow card, ended up getting caught in the madness a bit too much, and Tomiyasu came in and replaced him and did a very good job for large portions of the game. Saliba and Gabriel were good. Didn't really have a lot to say about them. Didn't have to do a whole lot, but did their jobs fantastically. And Zinchenko did a good job dealing with Antony, showing Antony, picking up on Antony, and actually got inside Antony's head a bit. They were having a pretty feisty duel back there, and I'm surprised actually Zinchenko didn't end up picking up a yellow card like Antony did. The midfield 3 was kind of the difference here. Xhaka was very, very good, very, very adventurous into the box and wasn't picked up by anybody in the United midfield. He did a great job there. Partey was good for stretches. I thought he'd have a better and bigger game than he did, but didn't really play a big role. But he did a good job nonetheless. Ødegaard played well for stretches. It's not a vintage Ødegaard performance. And then the big difference is this front 3. Gabriel Martinelli was fantastic. Wan-Bissaka played very well, and yet there were large stretches. I was very concerned for that Man United defence as he was kind of getting ripped inside and outside by Martinelli, and that's a credit to Martinelli more than it is a diss towards Aaron Wan-Bissaka. And then Bukayo Saka scored a wonder goal, almost had a second. Eriksen got the faintest of touches on it to send it past the post. It was a great job by Eriksen to get in the way, but Saka was fantastic. Was again creating lots of opportunities for this Arsenal team, and the man of the moment, the understudy, the backup, and suddenly he's burst onto the spotlight. Eddie Nketiah, under threat from Leandro Trossard, who was fantastic too when he came on, but he was, can he do it? Are they going to miss Gabriel Jesus? The answer is no. I mean, I'm sure they'll love to have Gabriel Jesus back too, but Nketiah has been fantastic, and he scored 2 today. It was unfortunate that Wan-Bissaka plays him onside, and he flicks in their third goal to end it, but fantastic job by him, and he gets a brace, and he fully deserves the brace. And I'm happy for him in some ways. I mean, I'd love it not to be against my team, but he's done a fantastic job after being thrust into the spotlight, really. And between the managers, Ten Hag did a decent job. I mean, when you're missing your best player, arguably in Casemiro, and you're missing large portions, he did very well to keep him in the game for large chunks of the games. As I said, I probably would have started Rashford over, Weghorst, but I mean, it's little tiny things, and you're gonna lose. You're gonna lose games. They're the best team in the league. You're gonna lose games like that. You're not, especially if you're not gonna win the title, as I don't think Man United are at this point. They're gonna secure themselves top four fairly comfortably. But you're not gonna win the league, and you don't quite have the squad to like. You look at this bench: it's Heaton, Lindelof, Malacia, Maguire, Elanga, Pellistri, Menu, Fred, and Garnacho. Youth player in Garnacho, youth player in Pellistri, youth player in Elanga, young player in Malacia, and then obviously Kobe Menu. Yeah, all these players. I mean, Fred is the only really senior option off the bench. Maguire's not good enough. Lindelof's not really good enough, and you don't want to change that centre-back partnership anyway. And Arteta did a fantastic job. You coach with your back against the wall. You get the job done, and if you're gonna win titles, I've mentioned it in my Arsenal video recently about why Arsenal will win the league. If you're gonna win the league, you've got to win games like this against a tough opposition. They found a way and they get all 3 points. That's all for today. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time.